Hello everyone to today's video. In this video we are going to understand as I have committed the difference between project and wrap command. Okay, now there are a few more videos which are coming, some videos related to assembly and other videos which are on the process, on the making. Okay, but for now we will have a quick video on understanding what exactly the difference between we have inside project command and what happens when we use the wrap command itself. Okay, so let us start modeling first of all, and then while doing that I'll explain you the differences between both. Now let's say for example here I'm creating a simple sketch on the top plane, and to explain the difference what better way would be rather than to create a circular geometry. So here I'm creating a circle, let's say of diameter 300. Okay, I'll click on finish, I'll click on extrude, and then I'll define the height of this particular extrude as, let's say, 300. Okay, so you can define whatever length you want, whatever height you want, whatever diameter you want. Okay, it's totally up to you. Now what I'm doing now is I'm going to create a tangential plane. Now okay, for project command to work you need to make sure that you can create your sketch anywhere, at any plane, at any distance, and everything else is fine. But in order to wrap command to work, you need to create your sketch on a particular plane, and that plane should be tangential to the geometry. So that is very important. So what I'll do is I'll first create a condition which allows me to use wrap command. So for creating that condition, the first geometry for that thing is a cylinder, which I have already prepared. The second thing is I'm going to create a datum plane. For using the wrap command, I have to create a datum plane. Now many people doesn't know how to use the wrap command, so this will be a good example of understanding that as well. Okay, now here in datum plane I'm going to select the cylindrical geometry, and that will give me a by default tangential plane. To control the direction even further, I can select an existing plane, and that will allow me to either give a value at an angle or make it perpendicular or make it parallel to that selected plane. Now if I click OK, this is how exactly the orientation or the entire geometry is going to look like. So here I have created a simple datum plane which is tangential to that cylindrical body. Now for wrap command, there are some very important things which we should know, otherwise the wrap command is not going to work. Number one, it will only work on cylindrical or conical surface. Okay, so the wrap command is only going to work on a cylindrical surface or a conical surface. So it is not going to work on any other surface. Okay, number two, you need to have a plane, or the sketch should be on a tangent plane. Okay, should be on a tangent plane. So technically you need to create a sketch which is on a tangential plane to the cylindrical or the conical surface. Okay, so make sure these are the conditions for wrap command to work. Okay, so here I have a cylindrical or conical surface, and here I have a plane which is tangential to the surface. I just need to create a sketch now. So here I am creating a sketch, and let's say I am going to create a bunch of sketches here. Okay, for example, first of all, let's say I am going to create a simple section like this. Let's say I want to create an eye section like this. Okay, and here I'm not worrying about the sizes and all. I'm just creating a simple eye section, and I'm going to create it twice, because once I'm going to wrap and second I'm going to use project curve, so that I can clearly understand the difference between both. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that this particular sketch is properly defined. Now here I'll need to click on mirror, but before that I'll create a line here, a horizontal line, and then I'll choose mirror. I'll choose connected curve, then I'll choose a center line, and here I have successfully mirrored this geometry. Okay, I'll reduce the gap by changing the location of the mirror line. Okay, now the upper one I'm going to use for project curve, the lower one I'm going to use for wrap. Okay, and along with that I'll create few more geometries over here which I can use for both project and wrap. So for example, here I'm creating few circles. Okay, so here I'm adding few circles. Now these circles I'm going to use for both project as well as wrap. Okay, so few circles are created. Now along with that, you can see one circle is further away from the center, one circle is very near to the center, so that we can clearly understand the difference between project and wrap. And here again I'm going to create a corner rectangle. Okay, a small heighted corner rectangle, but it will be long enough. For example, it's a long corner rectangle as you can see, but width wise it is very small. Okay, so these are the few sketches which I have just created for explaining you the difference between wrap and project. Now I'll click on finish, and as we can see there are a lot of sketches which I have just made out. So first of all, what we'll do, we'll go for a traditional command called project, which normally everyone uses. Now for doing project curve, I need to click on the curve tab itself, and then here I'll find the command called project curve, irrespective of whichever version you are using. Okay, if you're using NX10, NX11, NX12 or the latest version of NX, you will be able to find the project curve command over here. Now I'll click on project curve command. Now here it is first of all asking me to select the curve. Now because my curve is not properly trimmed, I'm going to select this option called stop at intersection, and then I'm going to select my curve. So here I'm going to select the I section, and you can notice the software is automatically calibrating the selection based on the intersection. Okay, so here I'm able to select the entire curve in this manner. Then in object to project to, here I have to select a face, and that can be any face you want to. And here in the direction of projection, I'm going to select this y-axis direction. So technically it is now, that particular curve is now been projected onto the surface, and the problem here is it is projected on both the sides. So I don't want it to project on both the sides. I cannot. So what I can do is I can activate this option, project to nearest point along the vector, so it will only project to the front side. Now here I'll click OK, and this is how the project curve command is going to look like. Now what happens when we do a project curve, or what happens when we actually create a projection? Okay, the projection means it is going to simply create a straight projection based on the direction you selected. For example, here it is simply creating a straight projection from where this particular point is going to go and lie on this point. It eventually increases the length of the geometry, or it stretches the geometry as it goes further into the cylinder. Okay, so as you can notice, the length of this particular line and the length of this particular curve is not the same. So that is how it's going to work. So it is like stretching your sticker and applying it. Okay, so that is how project command is going to work. But on the other hand, if I choose to use the wrap curve command, and I'll do the similar thing, I'll activate stop at intersection. Here I'm going to select all the geometries. Okay, a little faster. Then I'm going to select a face on which the the wrap is going to happen. But along with that, I also have to select a plane using which the wrap is going to happen. Now the best part about wrap is it maintains the overall length of the object. So for example, if I go to the analysis tab, if I click on measure, if I select this curve, you can see the length of this curve is 43 point something. Okay, I'll delete the selection from here. If I select this curve, the length of the curve is 30 point something. Okay, so you can see how increased the length is. Now for example, here if I'm selecting this length, it is 30 point something, again the same value because it is mirrored. But if I select this, it is again very similar. It has a deviation after the third decimal point, and that is all because of the tolerance what we have. So here if I want, I can change the tolerance value and it will even reduce that deviation. Okay, it will even eventually keep it very near to the original value. So this is how wrap and project works onto a very similar sketch. Okay, so if I hide the entire sketch as well, so project curve will be shown. Let's say all the datum planes and everything is hidden. So as you can see the difference, the eye shape is properly maintained and it is working like a sticker on a wrap command, but it is more of working like a projection, like how the projector works. Okay, on a project curve command. Okay, so that is a basic difference between project and wrap. Now what I'll do is I'll make the rectangle project as well as wrap, so that I can understand how exactly the things are going to happen. For that, again I need to go to curve tab. I'll click on project curve. I'll choose, let's say, connected curve, and I don't want to stop at intersection this time, so I'm going to select the entire rectangle. Now here in object to project to, I'm going to select my cylinder. With a similar setting along vector, I'm going to select this direction, and now you can notice this is how it is projecting. So projecting is also limited with the surface area. So if the sketch is not onto the surface, the projection will go outside that particular surface because it has nothing to do with how long the surface is. Okay, now on the other hand, if I hide my project and if I choose to use wrap over here in a similar condition, so again over here I'm deactivating stop at intersection, and here's this face and here this plane. As you can notice, it is going and wrapping around that particular object. Okay, and if I check the length of this particular rectangle and this curve portion, it will be the same. Okay, so I hope you understood so far the differences between wrap and project. Okay, now for final statement between wrap and project, what I'm going to do next is I'm just deleting everything else which I have just created. Now I'm going to wrap the circles on the right and I'm going to project the circles on the left. Okay, so for doing that, I'll click on this option called project. First of all, I'm going to select 1, 2, 3 and 4 circles, and these 4 circles are going to get projected onto the surface on that direction. Okay, and as we can notice here, as the circle goes further, it becomes more elliptical because it stretches out. Okay, as I've explained you before, because it stretches out. Okay, but over here on the right side, if I choose to use let's say wrap, and if I select 1, 2 and 3 circles, and here in the face I'm selecting this face, in the plane I'm selecting this plane. So this is how wrap is going to work. Okay, so let us see one interesting example with wrap command. What I'll do is I'll close this body or close this geometry, and here I'll start with a new part file. Now let's say I want to create a simple geometry which has a cam follower kind of thing. So for doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a simple cylindrical geometry of, let's say, diameter 150. Okay, it can be any value, okay, but I'm creating a cylinder of diameter 150. What I'm doing along with that is, rather than the name P0, P1, whatever it is, I'm going to give it a proper name called cam underscore dia. Okay, so here the diameter name is cam underscore dia. I'll click on finish, and here I'll select the sketch. I'll click on extrude, and here let's say I want to give it a height of 200, or let's say 175. So here I've given the height of 175. Now next thing what I need to do is I need to create my wrap around it, and for doing that, first of all I need to create a datum plane. Now I'm not worried about like where exactly the datum plane is created. I'm happy with the orientation so far. So now I'm going to create a sketch on this plane. Okay, so let's say I'm going to create a sketch on this plane, and how I'm going to sketch it, like, first of all I'm going to create a simple line. Now this line will be equal to the circumference of this cylinder. Okay, technically cylinder doesn't have a circumference, okay, but yes, it will be equal to the circumference of the cylinder, and the location of the line is not that important, so I can even keep it on the origin. So to make it equal to the circumference, I'm going to double click on this value, and here I'm going to type cam. So circumference formula is pi d, so I'm going to first type pi, pi, and then we will get this open bracket and close bracket. Okay, I'll just zoom in, and then I'm going to type pi into diameter is cam underscore diameter. Okay, so this is the entire circumference of this particular cylinder. Okay, so this is only for my reference, so my design should be limited within this area. So I'll click on close. Okay, and if I want to properly limit my design, I can simply create lines like this. So that will help me to properly limit my design onto that particular object. So here let's say I want to create one more relation. Let's say I'll just give it a height of 175. That will be better. Okay, so 175 here. Yeah, so this is my design area. Now I can create whatever type of design I want in my design area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create profile. I'm going to create a straight profile like this. Then I want my profile to go at an angle, and again going to go straight. So for some distance it is going at an angle, and again for some distance it is going straight. I'm not going to define any measurements to this as of now. Okay, but I'm just creating a simple design. Now here I'm going to click on fillet and create a bigger fillet over here as well as over here. Okay, once my fillet is ready, I'm going to click on offset. Then I'm going to choose tangent curve. I'm going to select this entire thing, and I'm going to offset this down. Okay, let's say with the value of 35 or something. I'm just making sure I'm within the limited design area. Okay, and what I want is at the end they should meet together, because if I create this kind of design, they are never going to meet together. So what I need to do is I'll just redo my design again. Okay, I'll just do it with dimension so that it is easy to follow for all of you. Now here I'm creating a design which is somewhat like this, where at the end they are going to become a close sketch, and they are going to meet together. Okay, so for making the design perfect, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this middle point over here vertically aligned. I'm going to make the left and right equal to each other. You can also use mirror if you want to. Okay, so here again left and right equal to each other. Now I would suggest to do this equal constraint after you define the fillet. Okay, but I'm not going to not define the fillet as of now. I'm going to define it in 3D. Okay, so no problem for me. Now here I'm going to make this and this point again horizontally aligned. Okay, and then I'm going to start giving some dimensions. So for example, the length of this horizontal line is going to be 100. The length of this horizontal line is again going to be 100, and the distance between this and this line is going to be, let's say for example, 30. Okay, 30 or 40, and the distance from here till here is going to be suppose 50. So here I have created some sort of sketches. Now I'm going to click on offset, connected curve, the entire thing, and I'm going to offset this by, let's say, with a value of 30 or 35. Now convert input to reference will be off, and I'll click OK. Now I'll click on finish. As you can see, my sketch is ready. Now I'm going to click on the curve tab, and I'm going to click on the wrap curve command, wrap and unwrap curve. Okay, now here I'm going to select tangent curve, this one. Okay, or connected curve can also be selected, and I'm going to select all these curves which I have just created. Okay, then I'm going to select the face, and then I'm going to select the plane. And as we can see, if I hide my plane, sketch and all the other geometries, you can see this is how wrap is happening. Okay, now wrap is perfectly done, you know, but how we can use it in 3D in practical environment? So what I can do is I can go to the home tab and choose divide face. I can select this body and select the wrap command itself so that I can divide that face into multiple faces. Then I can go to the surface tab. I can click on thicken. I can select single face and then thicken it out or invert. So let's say I want to go invert with a distance of, let's say, 20. Okay, and it is going to get subtracted. So this is how I can simply create a subtract over here. Okay, then what I want to do next is I want to make sure that I am creating a proper round over here. So here I'm going to go for edge blend. Here I'm going to create an edge blend of, let's say, 20 mm. So if I am defining an edge blend of 20 mm over here, here also 20 will come. Okay, on the edges where the angle is more than 180, you can say. Here also 20 is going to come. Here also 20 is going to come. Apply. And now 20 plus 35. 35, why plus 35? Because 35 was the thickness. So this is the value over here, over here, over here, and over here. Okay, so if I click OK, this is how the entire thing is going to look like. So if I wrap this around, okay, this is how the entire part is going to look like. So this will give me a proper geometry of a cam if I'm trying to create one. Okay, so only thing is there are different options which will help you to create this particular inner geometry even perfectly. Okay, so that will give you a much better result. Okay, let's say I'm creating a smaller radius here onto a tangentially connected surface over here and over here as well, just to increase the aesthetic value of the design. So here I'm creating the two rounds. I'll click OK, and this is how you can use your project curve and wrap curve command to the fullest extent. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Okay, and I hope you understood how to use the wrap curve command itself. Okay, and you understood the difference between project and wrap. So thank you very much and have a nice day.